Today we learn about Swashbuckler class and abilities. Class abilities. That thing. Yes.
Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to The Gamer's Den, with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire, bringing you the next step in the first edition Pathfinder Swashbuckler guide, and today we are covering their class abilities, with a certain amount of class, if I do say so myself. Not really, but you get the idea. We are going to be going ahead and getting right on into this. To start off with, for the Swashbuckler, you gain simple and martial weapons proficiency, which gives you a pretty healthy range of options for combat, but we are going to be trying to do our best to stick with a very narrow select few weapons, just because of all the class abilities that we get built around them. We also gain light armor proficiency and buckler's proficiency as well. Now, light armor for builds like the paladin, the fighter, the chevalier, or cavalier, sorry, they definitely depend on medium to heavy armor, especially heavy armor. But because we are in a class that is more of a dex focused kind of a build, we can absolutely lean into the light armor and have our dexterity bonus count towards our defense overall. So definitely not a bad option for us. The best option for us, really. And bucklers, while bucklers are not always the greatest choice, they still do lend in towards increasing our defense, don't interfere with our combat abilities, and you can also get them enchanted for added benefits and bonuses, so definitely a worthwhile pick, especially for the Swashbuckler, and it still fits with the Swashbuckler overall. I mean, it's in the name. Bucklers right there, and bucklers were very useful for parrying rapiers, daggers, and all sorts of weapons like that. Now, after that, for the actual abilities and not just proficiencies and feats, we have panache at first level, and you gain a number of panache points each day equal to your charisma modifier, and this can be modified or affected by magic items and feats. Now, when it comes to panache points, if you're using them up throughout the day, you can gain more, typically by either landing a critical hit or delivering the killing blow to an opponent. That will help to add one more point to your pool each time you do that. But at the start of a new day after you've rested, you do refresh your total panache points. And what do you use them for? Well, you use them to activate your deeds, which are a wide variety of abilities that we will be covering next Saturday. But you use your panache points to perform deeds that are equal to your Swashbuckler level or lower, and a lot of these are combat or movement oriented, which give you a wide array of tactical options upon the battlefield. But of course, this isn't everything that the Swashbuckler gets. You also get Swashbuckler Finesse at first level. You gain Weapon Finesse for free on light or one-handed piercing weapons. You can also use your charisma score instead of your intelligence for your combat feats, or at least those combat feats that require an intelligence score, typically of 13 or so, which gives us more reason to put points into charisma. Charisma is very useful for a Swashbuckler. It really makes me question why there are guides out there that recommend dumping charisma. But then we come to our second level ability, which is Charmed Life. 3 times a day as an immediate action, you can add your charisma modifier to any saving throw. At 6th level and every 4 levels after, you add 1 more use per day for a max of 7 at level 18, which again gives you much more importance and emphasis for the charisma score. You really want that to be one of your best scores, if not the best. This just absolutely helps with your saves, especially the all-important will save, which is not great for us. But then we have Nimble at 3rd level, and with this you gain a +1 dodge bonus to your armor class when you're wearing light or no armor, and this increases by 1 for every 4 levels at 3rd, topping off with a max of a +5 dodge bonus at level 19. Now, it's important to note, any situation you're in where you're denied your dexterity bonus will also negate this dodge bonus. So if you're prone, tied down, or asleep, or some other means of restrained, and you don't have your dexterity score, you lose this as well. But this stacks nicely with our high dexterity score and the light armor. This really does a lot to boost our defense. And then at 4th level, we gain bonus feats. Swashbuckler levels count as fighter levels for combat feats and can swap a combat feat for a new one each time that this comes up. So these bonus feats that occur throughout your Swashbuckler levels, you are spending on combat feats, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to use up these feats to really build up your combat abilities, and we're going to dig into that later on. But then, for 5th level, we gain Swashbuckler weapon training, which again will help us focus and narrow down what weapons we're selecting. You gain a +1 bonus on attack and damage rolls with one-handed and light piercing melee weapons, increasing by 1 for every 4 levels, getting a max of +4. You also gain the benefit of the improved critical feat. So absolutely very useful here, and you can see why we're focusing in on just light one-handed weapons or piercing melee weapons and the like. So definitely where we want to focus on. So that's going to be your rapiers, your daggers, even short swords count. You also have things like scimitars, which can be used with this. So definitely narrows the range of weapons we're going to be primarily using, but still it's going to maximize our benefit all the way around. And then of course we have Swashbuckler Weapon Mastery, which kicks in at 20th level. When threatening a crit with a one-handed or light piercing weapons, the crit is automatically confirmed. The critical modifiers also increase by 1. So if you're using say a rapier or a swashbuckler, which has a ×2 modifier, you're going to get ×3 out of it. So even though those are lower damage weapons, at least on the dice, that multiplier is going to be massively useful for you, especially since they have a wider critical threat range on them, meaning you're going to crit more often and deal more damage by the time you hit 20th level. Like I said, the Swashbuckler doesn't have a whole lot of abilities, but they have enough abilities that increase as you level up and advance. So it's a very narrow and tight focus, and it's a very specialized class. You're built to do one thing: get in, be light, be nimble, have that daring do showmanship that just bleeds through everything you do and helps you to survive every encounter as you just absolutely riddle your enemy with puncture wounds or slice them to ribbons with your deadly light-edged weapons. But these are, well, there's not much more class abilities to cover here, but what do you think? Have I missed my mark in discussing these, or do you feel like I've pretty well nailed it and covered it overall? If so, go on down there in the comments and let me know your thoughts on the Swashbuckler's class abilities. Hit the like button or dislike, and if you haven't done so already, go on down there and hit the subscribe button. Certainly, we'd be happy to have you to join us here at the Gamers Den each time we upload new videos and content for you all to enjoy. But with that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you all so much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.